Hello everyone, this is Dan Partridge with Chef Dan's Hookah. And what is in my bowl today? This is the fumet that I'm still smoking that I started earlier today, and it's been going for about an hour almost. And flavor's starting to die down, but that's not why I'm here today. I did one of the first videos of the Hookah Lounge training series on hookahs, and that's geared more for beginning smokers of hookah, and I didn't really use a proper hookah for that, even though what I did use was in fact a working hookah. I think you need a better experience than that. A friend of mine, Pearl Wang, had suggested that I use a more proper hookah, and she was absolutely right. So I'm going to do version 2 of episode 1 of the Hookah Lounge training series on hookahs. This one here is one of the most classic ones. It's Khalil Mamoon. This is an Egyptian made hookah, hand welded, hand done, hand everything. Very classic style, very light even. I believe this one is stainless steel, I think. I'm not exactly sure the type of metal, or it might even be aluminum. Honestly, I don't know. This one has a traditional chamber, from what I'm told, and I've been trying to do the research on which is a common chamber and which is a traditional chamber, and I still don't know. So I'm not going to talk about that because I'd rather talk about something I do know rather than just talking out of my butt and acting like I'm an expert, and I'm not. Now what I'm going to do is do a brief explanation of the components. This here is the hose, which you take your draws out of, like so. And you can get the hoses in different styles. This one is a lounge style hose. It is one of the most common ones used, even though you can get small little kind of inexpensive Chinese ones. Those ones on the other hand have a metal spring on the inside to keep them that coiled shape, and those can rust, which is why that one, even though it says it's washable, it's actually not, because you don't want to get little bits of rust or in your air or anything like that. So those ones aren't the best to use. This one is washable. You can disassemble it by taking the mouth tip off. I'm sorry about that. And like this. You can wash that separately, run your hot water and juice and whatever through it to clean it and sanitize it. And then you got the hose port, and here this could also be taken off, and this as well. This is your grommet, which goes in between your hose and your hookah, so you can actually take it apart, clean it, and it won't get stuck in there. And I'm knocking over a bowl here left and right. So you put that back where it was. Now just one second. And it kind of supposed to stick in there. I don't know why this one isn't cooperating the way it should be. And anyway, you do what you need to make sure it gets a nice tight fit, because it's sort of like it's a vacuum system. You want to keep the air going in and only going through that. Otherwise, you're just going to be drawing air in from different sources. It's just not going to be a good session. So you put that grommet back in there. Stick your hose in there. And about that time, it should be pretty well sealed, but for whatever reason, this one ain't cooperating the way it should be. And let me pull it this way a little bit more so you can see it better. There you go. This is an ice type of stem, and the reason why it's called an ice stem, because in this one, kind of like the Starbuzz chiller or anything that has the label, almost anything that has a label of ice on it, you got a little bucket here in which you can put cold water and ice, and it'll cool down the smoke even more and make it a nice, smooth tasting session. And on the stem here on the inside, I have a diffuser, and what the diffuser does is make the smoke even smoother, but also makes it very quiet, because you hear the like that when you do one without it, and now you can hear the difference. Barely heard anything, and that's the function of a diffuser. It makes it smoother, and it kills a lot of sound. It's like the silencer on a gun. It suppresses a lot of the bang for when you fire and makes it very quiet. This diffuser does pretty much the same thing, makes it very quiet and makes it much smoother. This here is your hookah stem, and that's the part you sit on top of the base with also a gasket or grommet, if you please, in between that. So it's like on a metal surface in a car. You don't want to put two metal surfaces together without a gasket, because then it'll probably end up rusting together and it'll be a pain in the ass to pull apart. This one, even though this is glass and this is metal, it'll increase the longevity of your hookah. and it provides a nice cushion in between, so if you suddenly press down on that, it won't break the glass of the vase here, which this part is, and you will it's just a really nice setup. It makes it smoother and nicer, and your hookah will last longer. This is your purge valve, and if you get a harsh smoke, like if you put too much heat on it, you kind of get that burning sensation in your throat and you end up coughing. That's harshness. And then if you kind of adjust your coals and then blow it out through your purge valve, kind of like this, the harshness will more or less go away, and it'll make your smoke taste a lot and feel a lot better. And there's different kinds of hookahs out there. You got the Zara Spade. With that one, doesn't have an ice bucket on it, but it is also a very, very nice, a very inexpensive stem. You have this Khalil Mamoon, the 1001 Nights ice stem, although Khalil Mamoon has dozens of designs, different sizes, different heights, different shapes. Most hookahs all perform the same function no matter what they look like. You have your bowl on top, which is right here, my Hookah John 80C80 Bordello bowl. You have your shisha inside of that, and the coals on top to heat it up, so you can draw it down through the stem and through the water to do some minor filtering and smooth out and cool down the smoke into here, out into your lungs and back out. It's a lot more involved process than just lighting up a cigarette and going, and that's it. You're tasting things a lot better. You got some great flavors. You're not tasting burnt ash and burnt tobacco, and increasing your own personal life, actually. It doesn't have really any tar in it, if at all. There's, I'm, in my personal opinion, hookah smoking is so much more healthy than it is for cigarettes. And this one's a lot more elegant, it's a lot more ritualistic, it's a lot more involved. You have to clean your base here, you have to put your water in it, you have to wash it, you attach your hose, put your gaskets and grommets on, put your cold tray on, and it's a whole ritual. It's a very nice thing to do, and it's a lot of fun. It's a nice way to relax. Now down here is your base, or vase, whatever you wish to call it. In that you put your water or your juice or whatever you want to put in there. And even depending on what juice or what medium you put in there, it can actually enhance it with flavor and such. And a hookah is basically, no matter what the design is, whether it be a tabletop like Apollon tops or the Ottoman or even a glass hookah, you have your base. You have your stem, you have your hose port, your purge valve, and if you happen to have one, an ice bucket. Then you have your cold tray in which you shake off your ashes or set your next bowl on, and then your bowl with also a grommet in between your bowl and your stem, so that you can take things apart, clean it, and nothing gets stuck or broken or bent. On top of that, you have your shisha, then you have your foil or whatever kind of sealing medium you have to keep that in there and sealed and your heat contained. And then you also have your coals on top, and also your tongs for adjusting, or even if they're sharp enough, might be able to make the holes in your foil if you don't have a foil poker. So there's that. It's basic. I hope this one is a lot better than the first one I did. So to quickly go over that, sort of a pop quiz. What's this part? Your base, or your base, whichever word you used to use. Your stem. Your diffuser is on the very bottom of your stem if you have one. That smooths it out, makes it much more quieter. You have your hose. You have your tongs, your ashtray, your bowl, your foil, your coals, and your shisha. And that is the very most basic setup of any kind of hookah. And if there's something I did not cover, please feel free to let me know, and I will cover it in the next video. Other than that, I hope you get yourself a good setup. There's inexpensive ones, there's very expensive ones. It's all up to personal preference and what you want to do. Please feel free to ask questions, glean information from other more veteran hookah smokers than me, and don't be afraid to ask questions and do your research and learn. There's a lot of good places out there, kind of like Oasis here in Las Vegas. There's also the Starbuzz Lounge. There's hookah lounges everywhere. If you're not ready to go and buy your own setup yet, go there, get a $20 session, and you can experience the flavors, the look of the setup, how they bring it out to you, everything. Hookah is a ritual. It's relaxing. It's fun. It's also very social. Even though you can spend it alone, it's also a very social thing. Again, ask any questions. If there's something I didn't cover, please let me know. Other than that, I hope you go get one. It's a great fun time. It's a nice hobby. And I'm going to finish my bowl here and go on to the next one. So have a great evening. Happy smoking, and I will see you next time.